Hi, this is Tony, and we're back on the bench. And this evening, we're going to be doing another cleaning service video here on a reel that belongs to my buddy Dan here. So this is his Penn Spinfisher 704Z spinning reel here, just all taken apart. And I recently posted a couple of videos on the same reel. One has to do with a problem that we had with the bail, where the bail was severely bent and it wasn't opening all the way, off the rotor. So we fixed that problem now. But I've got a separate video on that particular issue with the reel, and then I also posted another one recently of just the disassembly. And I was just going to go right back into doing a reassembly video. But I wanted to take this opportunity just to go through all the cleaning because as you can see, it's dirty. It hasn't been taken apart in a long time, and it's got a lot of heavy usage and stuff like that. And so that's really what this video is about. And so, we're just going to kind of do the best we can here to get these pieces and parts cleaned up here. So, we've got our drag stack. Drag stack's actually in really good shape. There's no real issues there. All these washers look fine. Looks like we've got some HT100 washers here, and they're in pretty good shape. We'll probably put some Star Drag grease on those when we go to put it back. And so I'm just kind of stacking these back the way that they go. And then essentially that'll be ready to go. And I'm just going to put them off to the side for the time being, because there's no more need for any more cleaning there. Okay, but there is quite a bit of cleaning going on in these pieces here. All right, and so where I left off with this reel in the disassembly was right here at the bearing. And so we couldn't get this bearing out, but it was definitely in need of some cleaning and whatnot. And it had a lot of gummed up grease, and it also had a lot of sand in it too. And so what I did is I just took some penetrating oil to this and spent some time kind of scrubbing it with a toothbrush a little bit, and just letting it work its way in there. We're going to continue that process here, and I've used a couple of different products actually to kind of penetrate this. I've been using some CRC Power Lube, but I also resorted to using some Seafoam Deep Creep. This is good stuff. And also, we were hitting it earlier with some PB Blaster as well to attempt to get the bearing out. But these bearings do not come out easily. However, they are serviceable, being that they've got the snap ring on top. And I've got a separate video on the YouTube channel about how to service ball bearings, and you can check that out as well. Okay, but we're just cleaning this up the best that we can here, because we really want this bearing to function properly. I don't want to have to punch this out somehow, because it's not easy. And if you're in a situation where it really does need to come out, what I recommend you do is you have this flat surface here. You can reattach your rotor and put the rotor nut back on. I demonstrated this in the disassembly video, and you can put that rotor nut back on once this is completely back on, and you can try to wiggle it off. Okay, I attempted it a couple of times and it didn't work, but I was able to get access to it like this, and so there's no need to take it out really. Okay, but we're going to clean up the inside of this here, and we're going to do the best we can to clean this housing out, clean our pinion gear off. Okay, but I really like the 704Z. I have my own personal one, and it's a really solid reel. I have both the 704Z and the 704, the greeny style one, and those are really great reels that I've used a lot over the years. Great for surf fishing, pretty much any kind of saltwater bank fishing, I'd say. It's great for. We want to get these pinion gear teeth cleaned out the best that we can. And this pinion gear is actually in really good shape. There's nothing really wrong with it. Okay, but you can just see all the stuff that's coming out here right now in this reel. Okay, and sometimes you have to take the extent to taking like a small flat bladed screwdriver and kind of run it through the teeth here, a little bit, and make sure that you really get those teeth cleaned out. But yeah, when my buddy Dan brought me this reel and I found that bail problem instantly, I said, yeah, you know, he's probably been having a hard time, you know, casting this reel. And so I wanted to make sure got that fixed up, you know, but also just take the time to do the proper servicing on the reel, because there's really nothing wrong with it other than the fact that it just needs to be cleaned now and serviced. And so that's what we're getting into here. Get a little more power lube in there. This is a lengthy process though, so you know this video is really just going to be focused on this part, but I will post a separate reassembly video in the days to follow. Okay, but you can see now we've got a clean ball bearing. Okay, it's in good shape there, and it spins. You can see those ball bearings just spinning real nicely. Okay, so that's what we want. Okay, we'll take a Q-tip, and we're just going to clean out this housing here the best that we can. You know, you want to get all these old contaminants out of here. You don't want any of that in there. Okay, so that's in pretty good shape. I'll put that off to the side for right now. Okay, so we've got, you know, all these other pieces and parts here. You know, it's really just about taking paper towels, you know, cleaning up, using Q-tips to clean up in little crevices and corners and stuff, things of that nature. There's a lot of sand build up in here, and you know we want to get all that out. You know, don't be afraid to hit these spring housings here with some multi-purpose lube and really work those that spring in there, the bail springs and all those areas. Okay, the bumper on this looks okay. The rubber bumper, it's still got a little bit of miles left in it, so we're just going to leave that. There's no need to replace that. You can still get a lot of parts for this reel. They started making the Z series, the 704Z, in the mid-70s, and it went all the way up until 2001, and somewhere along the line, I believe it was brought back by popular demand, actually. I don't have all the backstory on that, but I remember seeing a couple of videos out there from, I believe it was from Penn, indicating that they were going to bring back the Z series, so... Okay, but we've got a clean rotor there. Okay, we've got our spool. Want to make sure that everything is nice and clean on the inside here. Okay, I can definitely see some signs of some corrosion damage in there, but it's nothing that's going to stop the operation really, per se. It's just, you know, a little on the rough side. But if I know my buddy Dan, he likes to do serious shore fishing on the coastline and whatnot, so that's his deal. So clean this whole area out here. It looks pretty good. But yeah, never be afraid to take the time to do all the extra cleaning like we're doing right now, because it does pay off actually in the end. It's time consuming, but that's just part of the gig when you're doing this kind of stuff. Okay. This reel did have some old fishing line. I stripped all that off. I'll tell my friend he's going to have to put some fresh line on this though, because the line that was on here it was pretty chewed up and used and had a lot of memory to it. Okay, so that's good. Got our side plate here. I'm just gonna clean off the grease. One thing, you can still get these emblems, actually, believe it or not. Those are available out there. You can find them on eBay, or mysticparts.com has them. And I'm actually going to replace that so that looks a little nicer for my friend. So Okay, and now, you know, it's really just about cleaning up all these other pieces and parts here. We've got a rotor nut. Okay. Got some washers and some various different things here. You can just see all the grease and dirt that's coming off of here. We'll start here in this tray. All this stuff's been soaking for a little while. Okay, but I just want to clean off all this old gunked up grease that's loaded on there, get that out of the way. Use some more Q-tips here. Clean that all up real well. I'm just going to kind of gently spread these pieces out because these trays are really, really filthy now at this point. You know, you can just see how dirty this is here, you know. But you want to make sure you clean these teeth out really well, okay? I'm just doing this with a toothbrush right now, but sometimes I also find it's helpful to use a brass wire brush like this. But make sure it's brass, don't use steel, because you're going to scar up the brass gear. Okay, and that's cleaning up pretty nicely now. Okay, I like to take some 4O steel wool to this shaft right here. Make sure that that's nice and clean, smooth. Okay. Also, you can take a brass wire brush here to these threads right here as well. Okay. We're going to get all this gunk out of this area here. You can just see. Want all that out of there. Okay, and then we've got some screws, some side plate screws there. There's a set screw for that. All right, but yeah, you can just see, you know, there's lots and lots and lots of stuff in there that we don't want. So, okay, and then there's these pieces here. Okay. Clean your main shaft off really well. Do the best that you can. Take that 4O steel wool to the shaft there, clean that up. Nice and smooth, clean. Brass wire brush to those threads. Also take it to this part here up on top. You want all your surfaces to not only be clean, but you want to check and make sure that they're in alignment and not out of round or anything like that, okay? So you want to make sure that you're paying attention to that kind of stuff. Okay. Sometimes it's helpful to take the 4O steel wool to these kinds of surfaces that are a little corroded or tarnished a little bit. You want nice, flat, smooth surfaces with these kinds of pieces. The best that you can get anyway. Okay, that's probably fine. Got our dog. That's going to go back in. And then we've got some screws. Okay, there's that. And then we have our bail, of course. Now, one thing that I noticed with this bail, while I was working on it, taking it apart, is I'm pretty sure that this this line roller here is seized. I don't think it's moving very easily, so what we're going to do here is we're going to take this apart. And yeah, you see that bail's just not spinning at all, okay? And so what we're going to do is I'm probably going to hit this with some harder penetrating oil. I'm going to let it sit for a little while, and then we're going to come back in a little bit. We're going to see if we can't take this off and loosen this up, because if the line roller doesn't roll, there's not a lot of sense in using the reel, because it's going to mess up your line, okay? And I've got a separate video on this particular topic as well about servicing line rollers, okay? So we're going to hit that with that penetrating oil, and we're going to be back in a minute and see if we can't get it off. Okay, so it's a little further on down the road now here, and we've let this sit for a little while, hitting it with some PB Blaster, okay, and we've let that soaked in a little bit, and as you can see now, we've actually gotten it loosened. What I did end up doing is I just kind of wrapped a little bit of this towel around and take some needle nose pliers. Very important that you use the towel though, because you don't want to scar up that line roller, the metal on there, okay, because then that's going to mess up your line, okay. But as you can see, it comes off, okay. This surface needs to get cleaned up really well, okay, and we have to make sure that it's a nice clean surface to put that line roller back onto. So a little bit more penetrating fluid, 4.0 steel wool, but I broke this free with the help of the PB Blaster once again, and that is really, really good stuff. It almost never fails me when I'm in that kind of bind, okay, but we want this surface to be nice and clean for sure, okay. So these are the things that you have to look for when you're doing reel maintenance and whatnot. You know, you have to make sure that those things are checked, because they're often overlooked. And you'd be surprised how many folks actually don't realize that this is actually supposed to spin, you know, with your line when it's being spun on the reel. Okay. So we're cleaning that out the best that we can. Okay. And then to go back, what we're going to do is we're going to take some real oil to this here. Okay, just a little bead of that. And we're going to put that back on there, and it's starting to spin a lot easier now, so that's important. Okay. Just let that work its way in there. Okay. Probably work on this just a little bit more. Just a little bit more steel wool to that. That's a lot better. Okay. And what we'll do is we're going to leave these pieces and parts taken apart here, and then this will be part of the reassembly video. And when we go to put all these pieces back, once again, we're going to hit that with a little bit of Real X or some Penn Precision oil, one of these two. And we're going to put a little dab of that on there before we put the line roller back on, so that it's good to go. Okay. And then outside of that, you know, these surfaces here, they could just benefit from a little bit of 4.0 steel wool and a little bit of penetrating lube. Make sure these surfaces are clean. Okay. Okay, so there we have that, and then all that's really left here is, I guess, this handle. So, you know, same deal, clean out all this old gunk, all the old grease, get all that out of there. Okay, this handle might benefit from a little bit of penetrating fluid on there. Okay. Have a little bit here. Alrighty, so there you have it. That is our Penn Spinfisher 704Z with all of its pieces and parts all cleaned up and ready for reassembly. So we'll be doing that in the next video for this particular reel. That'll be posted soon. So thanks again for watching. This is Tony with Back on the Bench. If you like the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, please do subscribe and make sure you hit the notification button. And if you have any questions, please feel free to drop those in the comment section, and I will do my best to respond to those. We'll see you next time.